It was just like a nice little tap, like I'm here. Not to
Chennedy Carter just did the unthinkable. Months after blindsiding Caitlin Clark with one of the dirtiest hits the WNBA has ever seen, Carter is now trying to justify it, not apologize, not own it, justify it. With the WNBA exploding in popularity thanks to Caitlin Clark, Carter's shocking attempt to rewrite history could not have come at a worse time. She's calling it a little tap.
That was a really ugly foul, and I understand it was bordering on what looked like assault. We all remember the vicious hip check. I also will not forget Angel Reese jumping up off the bench celebrating it. Nor do I condone the fact that Chennedy Carter didn't want to answer for her actions in the press conference afterwards.
I ain't answering no Caitlin Clark questions.
But the footage tells a very different story.
What little girl wants to grow up and play in a league where you're targeted like that? How do you sit here and profess and demand that everyone take women's sports seriously when you can't even take it seriously enough to not act like a junior high queen on the court? It's stupid. That's so dumb. It looks like a soap opera.
And with training camps starting and every team turning their backs on her, Carter's desperate moves have exposed a much deeper problem. Was this about basketball or something far bigger? What you are about to hear will change how you see everything.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Clark, guard for the Indiana Fever.
Gets bumped, will take, and hit from three.
The stakes for Chennedy Carter could not be higher. The WNBA is entering its biggest season ever, powered by Caitlin Clark's unstoppable rise. ESPN is breaking viewership records. Tickets are selling out months in advance. Corporate sponsors are lining up. The league is under a national spotlight it has never seen before. Therefore, protecting its image and its stars is more important than ever. But Carter's reckless hit on Clark last season sent shockwaves through the sport. During a Chicago Sky versus Indiana Fever matchup, Carter blindsided Clark with a brutal shoulder check away from the ball. There was no basketball reason, no excuse. It was a direct shot at the league's biggest new star. At first, officials called it a common foul, but after reviewing the footage, they upgraded it to a flagrant, an unmistakable signal that Carter crossed the line. Therefore, what could have been just another heated moment instantly became a national headline, dragging Carter's reputation down with it. After months of silence, Carter finally spoke up. In a shocking interview, she claimed the hit was just basketball, describing it as a little tap.
Like a nice little tap, like I'm here. Not to harm you or anything. You know, if you want to push somebody, you're gonna full force
People really made it a crazy big deal.
She explained hers. It was just a tap, folks. People overreacted. Wasn't me. People threw temper tantrums. Definitely not I. Definitely not I. Prove it. Prove that I went after Chennedy Carter.
She even compared it to moments in the NBA, saying it was no different from when players bump into stars like LeBron James.
Break down that situation that happened.
Yeah. So, in basketball a little bit, there's things called talking, what you like to call smack or whatever everybody likes to call it.
Yeah.
Plays before things are said, it's a part of basketball. You know what's crazy? Me and my brother went back and watched, and we've seen a lot of clips in the NBA of guys getting pushing LeBron. I think it was Jeff Teague or somebody who pushed LeBron out of bounds, said, man, I was mad because we couldn't stop him. So I'm just it's one of those things it happens in basketball.
But here's the problem. The footage says otherwise. Carter didn't just bump Clark during live play. She finished a scoring move, veered across the court directly toward Clark, locked eyes on her, muttered something under her breath, and hit her with full force. Therefore, her casual explanation felt hollow, even insulting to anyone who had actually seen the video.
She did. She stopped and went through. That is not... We watched the clip. There is no way that we're letting this happen. Saying that it was nothing. This is not just a tap.
Carter also introduced a brand new excuse, that she may have been elbowed earlier, but not once before had she mentioned this.
I think a play before, maybe I was elbowed. Okay, that happens. Think the next play down, maybe something was said. And then maybe there was like a little clip of somebody like yelling in my face. And then we go down the court. Then I hit like a little bucket. You feel me? Come down, hit like a little nice little mid-range pull-up. And then I just like, just give her like a little like, I'm here. Like, I don't think it was.
No media quotes, no post-game statements, nothing. More importantly, the video evidence shows no such elbow, no provocation, just Carter making a choice. And it cost her everything. What makes this even worse is the timing. Carter stayed silent for months, refusing to comment.
Chennedy Carter has always been kind of up against the fence when speaking about this Caitlin Clark situation. We remember when she first got asked about this during a press conference, she stated that she wasn't going to speak on Caitlin Clark. Now we know months later, she still hasn't spoken on the whole situation. That is until today. Yes, Chennedy Carter finally broken her silence about the Caitlin Clark hip check.
Yet now, with WNBA training camps about to start and her name missing from every roster, she suddenly feels the need to explain herself. Is this a genuine reflection or a desperate last-minute PR move? And it gets even more telling. In her latest comments, Carter, who once dismissed Clark's talent, now calls her a great player. A total reversal.
I mean, that happens, man. Like, it's one of those things. I'm a great player. She's a great player. It looks a certain way. Everybody's going to have their views on it. But my personal view is, I don't have anything against her. She's a great player. So am I. And I've got buckets all that season. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things that, I love it though. They think I hate it. I love it. I love when it gets riled up and juicy like that.
You feed off of like what people say and shit, and it makes you more
yeah,
motivated.
that's what I'm telling you. Oh yeah, I love the hate. I love that.
Yeah.
Therefore, many fans see this as a calculated shift, not real growth. It looks less like accountability and more like survival. Social media exploded after Carter's interview. Fans pointed out the inconsistencies, the revisionist history, and the obvious attempt to save her career. Comment sections were flooded with disbelief. How could she still not take real responsibility? How could she think the world would forget what actually happened? But this raises an even bigger question. In today's WNBA, where players are finally gaining massive attention and respect, can the league afford to have players who refuse to uphold the standards being set? If Carter believes she did nothing wrong, what does that say about how seriously she takes the league's future? Therefore, Carter's struggle to rewrite history isn't just hurting her reputation, it's becoming a symbol of what the WNBA refuses to accept moving forward, behavior that threatens everything they are working so hard to build. The fallout from Carter's actions only grew worse when teams across the league started to make their positions clear, without saying a word. As free agency unfolded, every major name found a new team. Deals were flying. Rosters were filling up fast, yet Carter's name stayed off every single list.
Her actions prove that no team is willing to bet their luck on her. Now, granted, she's a dominant scorer, excellent basketball player in certain aspects of the game, but her behavior on and off the court is making it look real shady for her to get picked up by a team.
No offers, no invites, no training camp tryouts, nothing. Therefore, it became obvious that teams were not willing to take the risk. Even though Carter was once seen as an elite scoring guard, her reputation had turned toxic. General managers were choosing players with less raw talent, but better team chemistry. It was a silent but powerful statement. Talent alone is no longer enough.
I mean, she can score. She can score with the lights out. I mean, she can. She's pure offense, a pure shooting guard, scoring guard, an instant offense. But if you're a team, do you really want her on the team? I wouldn't.
But Carter's defenders argue that she is being unfairly punished. They claim the league is protecting Caitlin Clark at all costs and using Carter as a scapegoat. They point to the growing divide between new stars like Clark and veteran players who feel overshadowed. This resentment, they say, created a powder keg, and Carter just happened to light the match. However, most basketball insiders reject this excuse. They argue that this is not about favoritism, it is about professionalism.
He's talking about, it's about being competitive and, people really had a problem with that. Like, What are you talking about? This is not competition. Competition is what we do on the basketball court. Maybe competition is part of the trash talking. But when you decide that you're going to take somebody down, you've stepped out of competition and you've kind of entered into, I'll just say, alleged.
Carter's hit on Clark did not just cross the line. It shattered the unspoken rules that protect every player, no matter their status. Therefore, the backlash Carter faces now is not about Clark. It is about respect for the game itself. This situation also opened old wounds about Carter's past behavior. Fans and media quickly dug up her troubled history. A suspension from the Atlanta Dream after a locker room incident.
Atlanta Dream did suspend her in the middle of the sophomore season, basically saying she was a detriment to the team and the team culture. So then the Atlanta Dream decided to trade her to the Sparks, the Los Angeles Sparks.
Rumors of fights with teammates and multiple reports of attitude problems.
Come on, cheer for your teammates, be a part of this team, and then ensues an altercation between the two where Chennedy Carter was sent to the locker room mid-game, of which afterwards, after the game, this is what has been reported. I guess Chennedy Carter wanted to fight Courtney Williams, like physically fight Courtney Williams, who backed away from this and was like, no way. So there was no actual physical altercation that happened.
It painted a picture of a player who had been given multiple chances, only to waste them through poor judgment. Carter's attempt to portray herself as misunderstood is complicated by these patterns. When asked if she regretted her actions against Clark, Carter never gave a straight apology. Instead, she doubled down, insisting it was part of the game.
Well, a little bit. There's things called talking, what you like to call smack or whatever everybody likes to call it.
Yeah.
Plays before things are said, you know, it's a part of basketball.
Therefore, many believe she still does not understand the seriousness of what she did.
I said Chennedy Carter wasn't going to make a WNBA roster. And as it sit, April 20th, training camps start for teams in 7 days. Training camp for a majority of the WNBA start April the 27th. Chennedy Carter is not on any WNBA roster. Want to know why? Because it's Chennedy Carter's fault she's not on any WNBA roster.
Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's response made the contrast even sharper. After the hit, Clark said nothing. She got up, shook it off, and kept playing. No cheap shots, no retaliation, no public complaints. Therefore, Clark's poise only made Carter's aggression look even worse.
I think at this point, I know I'm going to take a couple hard shots a game.
Some argue Carter could have repaired her image with a real apology, one that showed true remorse. But by downplaying the incident and shifting blame, she dug herself deeper into a hole.
I agree with the idea that it shouldn't have been a big deal for days and days and still talking about it now, and I guess I'm guilty of that. But I do think Carter's comments there are a hint as to why she's not in the league. Lack of accountability in what she's saying. Basically saying, oh yeah, it was a love tap. It was a love. Instead of just going, yeah, I messed up. I lost my cool for a minute. I messed up. My bad. The end.
Fans who might have been willing to forgive her are now even more convinced that Carter cares more about saving face than doing what's right. This silence from WNBA teams speaks louder than any official statement. It shows that no matter how much you can score, no team wants a player they cannot trust. Carter's story is turning into a cautionary tale for every athlete who thinks talent alone will save them. Therefore, as training camps open and rosters fill up, Carter's absence becomes more glaring by the day. The league is moving forward, and Carter is stuck watching from the outside, still trying to explain away a moment that defined her for all the wrong reasons. The most shocking twist of all is that Carter still does not seem to realize how much damage she has done. In her interview, she said she loves the hate. She feeds off the negativity. She even claimed that critics only make her stronger.
Got buckets all that season, you know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things that, I love it though. They think I hate it. I love it. I love when it gets riled up and juicy like that.
You feed off of like what people say and shit, and it makes you more
motivated.
motivated.
That's what I'm telling you. Oh yeah, I love the hate. I love that.
Yeah.
But this attitude, the refusal to accept any real responsibility, is exactly why no team is willing to take the risk. Therefore, Carter is not just battling bad publicity, she is battling herself.
And it seems as if, Chennedy Carter doesn't realize, it's almost as if she's being victimized in that sense,
when she doesn't realize why people had an issue with it. And, you know, with other things too, you know, not being in the league in general, that should be a wake-up call for somebody who does have that talent, because she is a great player. I mean, that is true. From an ability standpoint, she's a great player. But there's more to being a part of a team and part of a professional league than being a great player.
The Chicago Sky's decision to let Carter walk without even offering a qualifying contract spoke volumes. Teams do not just give up leading scorers for nothing. Therefore, Carter's release was not about her basketball skills. It was about everything else: her attitude, her reliability, her impact on locker room chemistry. An anonymous WNBA executive made the brutal reality clear. They said they would not touch Carter with a 10-foot pole, not because she cannot play, but because they cannot trust her.
It's just a sad state of affairs, and I would like to see Chennedy Carter back in the WNBA at some point. I would like to see Chennedy Carter playing basketball because she has that ability, but clearly her reputation, it's not even just her reputation. You WNBA teams and front offices and even other players feel a certain way about it, or else she would be on a roster. When it comes to who's better than who, there aren't more players on rosters, you know, that are in the league that are better than Chennedy Carter.
Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark continues to rise higher. She is breaking rookie records, selling out arenas, bringing millions of new fans into the WNBA. Therefore, every time Clark shines, it becomes a painful reminder of what Carter threw away. Some fans still hope Carter will get another chance. They believe she is too talented to be left behind forever. But the WNBA's message right now is clear. No player, no matter how skilled, is bigger than the league's future. Therefore, Carter's story is no longer just about one bad moment. It is about what happens when a player refuses to grow. The WNBA is changing fast. With stars like Caitlin Clark leading the way, the league is moving toward a new era, one built on professionalism, respect, and unity. Carter's actions and her response afterward clash with that vision.
This is a bad look, bro. This is her pretty much begging for a team to pick her up. Oh, it's just part of basketball. That's not part of basketball, bro. What you did to Caitlin Clark, you can't justify that assault.
Therefore, it is no surprise she finds herself alone, with no team willing to bring her back in. And here's the final gut punch. Carter had every opportunity to become part of the WNBA's new golden age. She had the talent, she had the stage, but she chose ego over accountability. And in doing so, she became the league's most powerful warning sign. Therefore, the question now is not whether Carter will find a new team. The real question is, even if someone gives her a second chance, will she ever truly change? Because if not, her biggest battle will not be against other players. It will be against herself. And as of today, it is a battle she is losing.